The saying is, money gets you everywhere you need to go. And to a certain extent, that is true. You need money, obviously, in today's world to live, as far as, pay rent and pay bills and buy things. But in the sports world, especially in baseball, that statement has rang true throughout the entire duration of baseball. It seems like the teams with the biggest markets, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, those are the teams that have been successful over the duration of baseball because they are able to put more money into their team than other organizations, smaller market organizations. And I've said over the last few years that model is changing. It's changing because of just how much money is out there. While yes, those big market teams still can afford more players, better players, the talent pool is a lot bigger than just, big market teams. And there's so much money out there that the term doesn't really ring true today, or doesn't ring true today. And where we're going to start is, of course, the MLB playoffs. And we have to have a serious discussion about the Dodgers for a second. You see, if you want a clear-cut example of why and how baseball is changing and how the whole big market team thing isn't really a thing anymore. While yes, there are still big market teams, but a big market team was almost primed to make a deep World Series run. But that's not the case anymore. And you know how that's not the case? The Dodgers are out. The Yankees didn't even make the playoffs. The Boston didn't even make the playoffs. You see, there's so much talent in the MLB. And there's so much talent in baseball today that while, yes, the Yankees obviously can offer you more money than, let's say, Washington Nationals, but the talent level has to be there. And when you get to the postseason, that's when the talent level has to shine the most. It doesn't matter how much money you put into a team. If the money that you put into the team does not show itself in the playoffs, it doesn't matter. Let me first congratulate the Diamondbacks. We're going to talk about the Phillies in a second as well, but the Diamondbacks were never looked at as a team that should be contenders as far as when we talk about top teams in MLB. When we talk about the Brewers, when we talk about the Braves, when we talk about the Rays, nobody really considers the Diamondbacks, especially seeing as though the Diamondbacks haven't had the most luxurious recent history. They've been one of the I'm not going to say worst teams, but one of the bottom feeders in baseball for a minute now. So the fact that they come in and find themselves in the NLCS is incredible. Especially seeing as though they had to go against the Brewers, which a lot of people, even though the Brewers did come in third and had to do a wild card series, a lot of people had the Brewers at least making it to the World Series. So you had to go through them. Then you had to go through the highly vaunted Dodgers. You had to go against Freddie Freeman. You had to go against Mookie Betts. That is a tall task. And again, nobody really had expectations for this Diamondbacks team to make it as far as they made it. That to me is a testament of itself. We talk about goals a lot, especially when we talk about preseason NFL. We talk about goals, and we talk about every team's goal going into the season is a Super Bowl, is a World Series, is an NBA championship. But you know very quickly how good your team is. And you know very quickly into the season, is your team a Super Bowl team? Is your team not a Super Bowl team? Is your team a lottery team? Like, you know quickly. And it was looking kind of rough for the Diamondbacks. Again, we're talking about a team that has been a bottom feeder for a minute. So the fact that they are here now, yes, they've been better over like the past few years, but nobody expected them to be here. So that is a testament to them and their work ethic. And shouts out to the Diamondbacks, man. I don't know. Again, we'll talk about the Phillies in a second. So I don't know exactly how far. I don't know if this is the end for the Diamondbacks, but the fact that they even made it to the NLC is a thing, and shouts out to them for making it. I don't know if this is the first year. I could be wrong. But this is one of those rare years where multiple 100-win teams did not make the NLC or did not make the CS. You have the Orioles, you have the Dodgers, and you have the Braves. Now, again, we're going to talk about the Braves and the Phillies in a second. But I have to talk about the Dodgers first. Because a lot of flack that the Lakers get for winning the NBA championship in the bubble. A lot of people call it the Mickey Mouse ring. A lot of people say that it really shouldn't count. All that slander that the Lakers get for ultimately winning, by the way, definitely should. It should be talked about as far as the same vitriol that the Lakers get for that championship should probably be sent over the Dodgers' way. The Dodgers won a World Series in 2020. I think, of course, that was the year that the season was shortened. I think they only played like 47, 48 games or 46 games or something in the regular season. They played pretty much 60 games to win the World Series. We'll go back, actually. Let's go back to 2000 and... Let's go back to 2000. Oh, man. Since 1988. 1988, they won the World Series against the Oakland Athletics 4-1. 1995, they lost in the divisional series. 1996, they lost in the divisional series. 2004, they lost in the divisional series. 2006, they lost in the divisional series. 2008, they lost in the NLCS. 2009, they lost in the NLCS. 2013, they lost in the NLCS. 2014, they lost in the divisional NLDS. 2015, they lost in the divisional series. 2016, they lost in the championship or the NLCS. 2017, they lost in the World Series. 2018, they lost in the World Series. 2019, they lost in the divisional series. Shouts out to the Nationals. 2020, of course, they won. 2021, they lost in the NLCS. 2022, last year, they lost in the divisional series. In 2023, this year, they lost to the Diamondbacks in the National Divisional Series, NLDS. Kind of like what we see from the Boston Celtics. The Dodgers have lived off of the past way more than they've done. Let me say this. The Dodgers' success outside of 2020 has been all regular season. Outside of 2020, and as we just said, 1998 or 1988, that, in fact, before 1988, then they won the World Series in 1981. So they haven't really been postseason. They haven't seen postseason success outside of 2020, which was a shortened year. They haven't seen postseason success since 1988. Yes, the Dodgers is a big market team. California is a big market, obviously, state. But these are historical failures. They're losing to teams that they shouldn't lose. Again, I understand that they're just one of 3 teams that won 100 games that ultimately lost. Yes, the Rays did win 99 games, but this is a pattern with the Dodgers at this point. Again, the Dodgers have one of the highest or one of the most expensive payrolls in baseball. And that is kind of why I started the episode with money. Back in the money usually if you look at the Yankees and you look at the Yankees World Series championships, most of them, because they were able to afford the best team. They're able to afford a Derek Jeter. They're able to afford a Alex Rodriguez. They're able to afford those type of players. You have Freddie Freeman. You have Mookie Betts. Like, you have David Peraltella. I know I said your name wrong, bro. I apologize. But you have really good pieces. And, of course, you have Clayton Kershaw, who's definitely, it seems like he's closer to the end of his career than the beginning. This is one of the most expensive payrolls in baseball. Enrique Hernandez, like Max Muncy, had 36 home runs this year, tied for 12th. All that, and you don't even make it out of the NLDS. And you lose to a much inferior team in the Diamondbacks. I understand that momentum is a thing, and I understand that you want to be hot at the right times. And obviously the Dodgers were not hot at the right times, and the Diamondbacks were. But again, we're going to talk about it in a second, but this feels, the Dodgers losing and the Braves losing feels much different. It feels more of a failure. It feels like a much more heavy failure for the Dodgers than it does the Braves. It's not only, you know what it is? Nowadays, because the talent pool is so vast in sports, And because the talent pool is so heavy in sports, let's just keep it to baseball. You have to spend the money on the right things. You see that with the Yankees. They continue to spend their money on hitting. Which they continue to spend their money on hitting, and they whiff on pitching. I don't remember a good pitcher for the Yankees since CC Sabathia. This Dodgers team, they spent money on big names, and those big names came up big for them in the regular season. Again, you had Mookie Betts, who tied for 7th with home runs with 39. You had Freddie Freeman. You had really good a really good regular season. I mean, you finished with 100 wins. At the end of the day, that 100 wins means absolutely nothing because you lost. And now we sit back and the problem with this is a lot of these players probably aren't going to be here next year. So you spent all that money on JD Martinez and the Orioles lost, but nobody really shunned the Orioles because the Orioles are a young team. I think they were the youngest team in the postseason. And while yes, they won 100 plus games and lost, it's all about steps. That's with every sport, not just baseball. It's all about steps, you know. It's very hard. Now I know that going in, I picked the Orioles and I picked the Braves because I just felt like they were the two of the hottest teams going to the playoffs. But again, it's about the Orioles is I believe the youngest team was in the playoffs. So I understand. They're going to be back. I hope because even as a I'm not used to the Orioles being good for an extended amount of time. So hopefully they'll be back. They have one of the best young players in baseball. We'll see. But the Dodgers, man, and what's even worse is they have a black manager. Oh boy, to me this feels like an epic collapse. Not as bad as the Boston Bruins. Not as bad as obviously the Golden State Warriors in the finals, but this feels like an epic collapse. There's no way that the Arizona Diamondbacks, and shouts out to them, I'm not taking anything away from them. There's no reason why the Arizona Diamondbacks should have beaten the Dodgers, and not only dominate the Dodgers. They swept them. Oh man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.